to another episode of Between the Studs. I'm Mark, and today I'm joined by my brother Steven.
What's up, folks?
We're going to be talking about this awesome DudePerfect cruise that we got to go on, and all the building and all the fun and stuff associated with that. Yeah, all the craziness of it. So, yes. So, it was probably I think it was September. We actually got an email from Sixth Man, which is the group that DudePerfect is working with.
How do you spell that? Sixth Man?
It's like Sixth Man, all one word.
Yeah, okay.
I might even put an edit up there. But anyway, so this is a company that does cruises for musicians, bands, other organizations. And so they were working with DudePerfect to do a cruise. And I actually remember seeing ads for this on DudePerfect videos before they even reached out to us.
They were teasing it, yeah.
They were kind of leading up to it. We got an email and they wanted us to do the cruise, and they were talking about different ideas of what we could do because they wanted us to be on there, but they wanted to do Lego stuff too, right?
Yeah, but they had never done anything Lego before or anything. In fact, I heard from some of them, this is their first sort of kid-centric event that they did. Most
Family
of them were
friendly.
like for rock and roll or Elvis or other fun things like that they've done before. So,
Not Elvis.
No, not, but you know, that sort of music. You know?
Yeah, I think Kiss is one of the bands they do a lot of stuff with.
Okay, there you go.
But yeah, so this is very interesting. This is very completely different from what we normally do. We go to a lot of conventions. We do Q&As. We do meet and greets. We even do them here at the store. But, Steven, have you ever been on a cruise before?
Never. We've been out on the water a bunch with, like, just boating around Florida, but never out
Small
on a
fishing
cruise.
boats.
Yeah. That's not the same. So, no, never done a cruise before, ever.
In talking with Six Man, we decided that making a replica of a DudePerfect Sand Castle that they had from their beach stereotypes video.
Was it vacation stereotypes or was it beach stereotypes?
I think it was beach stereotypes
Okay,
specifically
beach stereotypes,
because it's something that you do on the beaches. You should build a big sandcastle, right?
Among other hilarious things.
Yeah. And so, it was a cool model to work from. I think I can pull up a picture for you. It's basically like a big shield kind of, I don't think it had a shield. It had a big logo on the front, had a tower on top, a couple towers on the sides.
Great design. The guys who built it, whatever it was, this sand castle, not our Lego castle, but the sand castle, it was really cool. Like, it had beautiful masonry and lots of towers, sort of asymmetrical. It's just a really good model. And to go off of that was very fun.
Yeah, so we had a great build idea. Otherwise, I was thinking like maybe a giant DudePerfect logo, which would have been fine, but not as interesting.
Yeah.
I think we could make it interesting, but it'd be kind of like forcing it versus building a castle is just like sickening.
It's very on brand with a tan sand castle that we ended up coming with. Oh yeah, we'll talk about the tan.
Yeah.
But no, joke aside, it was very on brand with like the beach, vacation, Bahamas, which is where we went. We went to the port of Nassau. And yeah, that really just got everybody in the mood for being in the tropics, you know, and just enjoying it. So that was very, very fun.
So we had our project, which is to go on this cruise and kind of have fun with Lego building activities and events and stuff we'll talk about in a second. But also we had a build that we're going to bring and present on the cruise too. The build itself that we ended up making was a large sandcastle with a giant DudePerfect shield on the front, which looks really cool. Really Steven,
nice.
Want to talk to us a little bit about the build? What are some of the stats that we were telling people?
Okay, so it was around 6 feet wide at its longest, and it's about 4 feet-ish, or maybe 3 or 4 feet deep at its shortest. So it was a big rectangle. It was tall. It was roughly 4'8", I think it was.
Yeah.
It was pretty big for a model. Once you get past 4 feet, that's considered a large Lego model.
Yeah, so it was basically 5 feet tall.
It was almost
off the table.
Close to 5 feet tall. Off the table, it was well over my eyes. Like I'm 6'3". If it was on a table, just normal waist-height table, it was really up in the air.
Yeah.
Parts. It had a lot of parts. It was around 30,000 pieces, which isn't actually that big. But when you build it so the rooms are hollow, it's kind of the shell, it can get really big really fast. So not the highest parts count we've ever done, but certainly impressive when it's finished.
It's a lot of volume when most of those pieces are 2x4s or 2x6s.
That's right. Most of the bricks were large, not little plates as it would be like, that would like shrink it down like pixels essentially.
30,000 1x1 round plates is a shoebox size bucket.
Yeah, it's like this big. Not much.
Literally. And so when you have that in 2x4s, it's a big.
It's like 9 times bigger.
So it's huge volume. And we basically had a huge hollow box or series of boxes
Yeah.
with really nice decorations on it. And that's kind of was our build plan. We sketched it out at first, or we have our idea in mind
You
already.
sketched it, but yeah, I don't normally sketch.
And so it was basically we have a couple big rectangular shapes and then decorations that we fit in certain areas that make it
towers,
all look good.
aqueducts, brick patterns. We had a brick pattern on the bottom, like large stonework masonry to make it look like this big heavy thing is sitting on a large sturdy foundation to make it look like it makes more sense. We had round towers, we had square towers, we had stairways, and we had a Parthenon like Greek structure. And oh man, you're gonna have to throw up a bunch of pictures.
Oh yeah, we
a bunch of
have
stuff.
some video clips and some pictures for you guys. But basically, I ended up building these huge, like literally multiple
did the
grade base
volume.
plates, but like 3 feet high.
That's crazy.
And then the foundations, all the big squares I made, and then I said, Steven, I need a beautiful shield on the front.
Things here.
I need a beautiful
things
round
there.
tower on the top.
Yeah,
I need
yeah.
beautiful Parthenon on the side.
That shield was really cool. And then, can I talk about the shield?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So the shield wasn't actually. It looks complicated. It was actually pretty simple. I had some tech help from Mom. We printed off the P or D from the DudePerfect logo, and you could just flip it over, no problem.
You also upscaled it a bit.
I upscaled it. It's about the size of 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and then I just sort of improvised where it had been cut off a bit, so it's pretty big. And all I did was I placed it on the ground, and then I built the letter
Outline.
I outlined the letter in brick, up and down, like front and back, like it was a mosaic built from top to bottom, and from bottom to top. And then I just made the P right there, and then just replicated it, and then made the D. So there was no problem there.
So you ignored the orientation of the studs and just used the bricks and duplicated it.
Yeah. I pixel arted it basically. Randall does a lot of that sort of thing, and then it's like its own thing. Most people for mosaics they'll just have a big base plate and put studs on it, but a lot of people can build from the bottom going up like a wall.
So this wasn't a mosaic, which would have not been a bad way to do
Mosaic
it.
could have done it, but you can actually be more precise with the plates facing going upright. So you can do 1/3 of essentially a stud versus a single stud. So I can get it 1/3 more pixels. 3 times more pixel, essentially.
3 times the definition.
Yeah. 3 times the definition into a picture if I'm doing it from bottom to top.
Yeah.
The shield was easy. We took one of our big Falcon Wolfpack shields that we sell here from a good
We
friend.
have sold. I think they're mostly
Oh, we might be out, but we have a few of them, and it's a large shield shaped very similarly to the Lego shield, the Lego piece. So I just gave it a slightly fancier top, and that was it.
Yep. So shield, excellent. A lot of people were really drawn to the logo on the front, so I think
They
that
liked
really...
it a lot. It was dark teal on tan.
It gave it a wow factor, because it was a different color. That was a different choice.
Slight contrast, but the warmer tan and the cool teal.
The original sandcastle idea that we were basing this off of just had a
Carved.
physical carved out letters.
Which looked good.
And this having a different color really set it off right. And we also had a few touches of color in the rest of the MOC. We had a little bit of teal roofs scattered
we had a
around
couple,
too.
Yeah, I
So.
remember those. Those were very fun.
So overall, we were just loving the build. I do know this was built basically over the week of Thanksgiving and a few more days after, I think.
Yeah, a week at best.
Yeah. So because of the busyness of the holidays, that wasn't as easy a schedule to build for.
No.
At the same time, it was a fun build, and it didn't take too long. We recorded it at around 27 hours for each of us. We weren't building at the same time all the time, but most of the time we were.
It's about, almost 30 hours each. So.
Yeah. And then we always were, the entire build process, I'm thinking back to Lego Masters when
Very similar.
Amy in particular did not like big tan builds. There were a couple of big tan builds in Lego Masters for our season.
Doesn't like tan, and she
She would
reiterated.
dunk on you for that. So.
You were in hot water if you built with tan, and she reiterated it on season 3. Like, it's a big risk to use tan. I'm like, oh, you don't say, Amy.
Yep. Anyway, it was basically, we just thought it was funny how this is the opposite of what Amy would think is a good build. However, this is exactly what the client wanted. Business world might reflect different from the art world. But,
the industry, yeah.
So that was a fun build. It was designed to be modular because how are you going to get this really giant castle moved?
It's a very popular question at conventions or just Lego in general. How do you transport Lego?
Yeah. It was designed to break apart into multiple layers horizontally and vertically. So you have different panels that remove, and we packed all those very carefully. In fact, Joe here at the store
Helped us.
back. I said, Joe, can I buy you some lunch? and we'll buy you some dinner, actually.
Right, buy dinner, yeah.
And have you come and pack up this build for me. He's like, yep, we can do it. And I think Jacob came and helped too.
That's right. And because Joe and Jacob a little bit, but mostly Joe, does a lot of the shipping. Most of the shipping is with Joe, and he knows how to pack anything. So he's like, yeah, we'll just do this, no problem. He's like just doing his thing. It's like, oh, this is a good choice.
Obviously, we were helping him,
good
but
choice.
he was helping it get packed the right way.
He's the packing master.
Yeah. Built modular and packed well. It all made it onto the ship via a semi-truck that Six Man has. We delivered it to storage area and their shipping department, and they took care of it from there. They got it to the ship and into the atrium on time.
No problem.
And let's talk a little bit about the cruise itself, Steven. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, we fly down. We're in Atlanta, so we had to fly down to Miami, where the cruise ship is taking off of. That wasn't too bad. Pretty straightforward. We're used to going to the Atlanta airport pretty often, so
it's a second home.
We get flown to Miami. Pretty uneventful flight. We get off the plane. We go to a hotel because we arrived a day early, and
good idea.
We're glad that we did.
Thanks to our mom recommended that, and it was a good recommendation because guess what? The airport had to shut down right as a bunch of planes were arriving for this specific cruise.
There was an emergency. It was actually not a real emergency, but there was a close shutdown of the airport for a brief time that morning.
And all the planes were up in the air, just flying around. So
you had circling planes for at least an hour, I think. And that was the morning of disembarking. The boat. And so we
dodged a bullet. We
arrived nice and early. We get on the boat, and so there was actually a delay getting on the boat too because some passengers apparently didn't get off from the last cruise, and they had to get them out. And so,
not sure what happened there, but yeah, it was weird. So
anyway,
can I mention a quick story?
For sure.
So we were waiting to get on the boat, right? We land there. Some people haven't got on yet, and
we go to the gate.
We go to the gate. And they shuttle us, the security team sends us in front of all the lines.
We cut through everything, ahead of hundreds of people.
Cruise ships, for those of you who might not know, cruise ships have their own sort of TSA that they use.
It's like a terminal.
Yeah, it's very similar to an airplane terminal. Not quite as strict, but they're still the lines. They sent us right past those, which felt very weird. Like, you don't want me to wait in line? No, come on. So that was definitely interesting. We met some more entertainment people who were really fun, some more VIPs. They were great. The Savannah Bananas, they were very funny. But anyway, we go to one holding area. We wait there for a while, then go to another sort of holding area. And then we go to a big holding area, which has a lot of the people who are just on the cruise, or just normal ticket payers.
Yeah.
And we go to a spot, we sit down, and everyone can see us. And then one family shows up, and they're very nice. They ask, can we do a quick picture? Like, yeah,
we did, I think,
we did, it was fine. And then another family, and then another, and then a lot more start showing up. There's there's this one group, we saw them later too. There's 4 families in one. They started coming up, and then the guy who was helping us around, I think his name was Bob, helping us around, an older gentleman. He's like, okay, we gotta get you guys out of here. And then oh snap, he's right.
They scoot us out into a different area.
But before he literally had to throw his arms in between the crowd and us and say, sorry guys, no pictures. We gotta get these guys moving. Sorry. And we said, sorry guys, we'll see you later. So they shuttled us off to a more secure area, which to the total bewilderment of our newfound friends. They're like, what in the world?
Yeah, the other VIPs that we were getting moved with were, I think, a little bit shocked.
Yeah, because we got swamped by a bunch of families. That was a sort of a first for us.
I think so.
The excitement, and everyone was just sitting around not doing anything.
Yeah.
So
we were the only thing going on.
We were the only thing happening, and everyone wanted to know what's going on. So they all started crowding around. So that was hilarious, new experience for me, and definitely, we were fine though. We were done.
Oh yeah, it was amusing at best. Yes.
And then right after that, we got onto the boat. So
yeah, it was within an hour we were on the ship, and we were able to head over to our first activity, which was kicking off the build session in the atrium. Now I should have some pictures to show up on the screen. You can see what it looked like when we were setting up the build, and the room that we're in is a very big room, big ceiling,
large, kind of like
stairways. It's an atrium.
Yeah, it's an atrium. It's the main hall. Essentially.
Yeah. So, it's the center of the ship. It was on deck 7, I believe, out of 14. So it's kind of in the middle of the ship, literally.
Yeah.
And
a huge TV. Massive TV.
Giant TV. They ended up playing the NFL playoffs back there, which was very noisy.
Yeah, very noisy.
But a lot of fun. And so we set up the build. It only took about an hour and a half is what we think. I think it was.
It's about an hour, maybe.
An hour?
Yeah, it's nothing.
So
nothing was too damaged.
Only a few of the T-joints on the front were a little bit separated, but easily put back together.
Oh, the shield was kind of broken up. I had to rebuild it.
It was a little bit crushed into one side, and so it's all that's fairly easy to fix. In less than an hour setup, not too bad. So,
which was funny because if you go to a show, you never see people set up their models, ever. The public never sees it, because
Yeah.
we do it before. But here, we drew a small crowd, because we were setting up the model. People were like, wow, they're seeing this huge, complicated structure being put together, this giant 3D puzzle. And it really kind of like blew a few people's minds. Like, this is so cool. And I'm building the shield. When I'm done, I kind of turn it around and leave it on display for people to see. I build this tower, I rebuild that, and kind of leave that for people to see. So it became its own little gallery of all the parts of the castle. So that was very fun for people. They're all like they're asking a few questions, and people started recognizing
chatting,
us, And that was
props to the Sixth Man guys and
Yes!
gals, because
Great
they
job.
had, I think it was like 4 or 5 people assisting us with the unpacking and setting up and
something
starting
like
up.
half a dozen. Yeah, it was crazy.
And so they all did a great job. They're helping us open packages carefully.
They got us a new table that was a lot bigger. The one we had was too small, so they got a new
They
one.
had 4 like small restaurant size tables.
Yeah, they wouldn't have worked.
And because the seams don't match up on carpet flooring, it just
Not
kind of didn't
perfect,
land right. They ended up getting 2 of those tables and putting a regular sheet of plywood, really thick.
Heavy duty sheet
And
of plywood,
they just put that on top, tablecloth over that.
tablecloth, and then it looked like $1 million. It was great. So
Perfect. And so, yeah, it ended up working great. It took a little while to set that up. We were building all that chunks.
they made papers, put them in glass, and then they put here's what you do. Here's the instructions. Don't touch the big model. We add to the big model. So Oh, should we go through what we did for the events?
Yeah, talk about the typical event. This happened once the first day and twice the following 2 days. But tell us how that went down.
It was pretty easy. It was just a build event. We'd seen something like this at other shows where you have a big model and people will build smaller creations, and then they'll, with play bricks that are just scattered random stuff on tables, and then the kids will build, and then they'll put their cool design that they made next to the really big one, which is usually like meters tall, this really huge model. And then by the time you're done, you have this big sea of small creations around the big one.
Yeah.
It looks really cool.
It's a very cool effect.
So we want to do that. So we gave the kids like 7 minutes, and if it was quiet, we gave them 10.
Yeah.
To build something, and we'd be like, "You have 5 minutes," and we'd have this fun, like
Countdown,
oh no, hurry, build. So that kept everybody
1
focused.
minute left.
Yeah, that made it like a game, so that was very fun. And kids could still build fun stuff too. And they would make fun creations, and they would do just that. They'd put them at the table, and then they'd get some pictures with us, and then they'd hop out the exit, and then if they wanted to, they could come around and build some more. Or they let the new group in if there's a line. So
Exactly. So, but yeah, that went on for about an hour and a half for most of the 5 times we did it.
Yep.
And it was fun, but it was a little tiring.
It was a little busy.
Because of the volume of the room, we had to yell quite a bit,
Yeah,
so
there
our
was,
voices were a little bit tired.
There were some like restaurants. There was a very classy bar on the side. There's a few stores. So it was a little noisy.
It's like a very packed mall.
Yeah, but
And
with only a
so-
few stores. So.
Well, no, the volume level.
Oh, volume, yeah. It sounds like a shopping mall.
Yeah.
Sounds like a shopping mall.
And so because of that, you're not able to just talk to someone quietly.
You gotta have shout when you talk a little bit.
Yeah, that's annoying.
So because introverted Mark was a little struggling, not too bad.
The
But
kids wouldn't have known.
yeah, I put on a brave face and a good acting voice.
No,
so,
you did great. Everyone was impressed.
So those events are fun. The only 2 other events we had on the cruise before we talk about the cruise itself was we had an autograph signing session on Sunday morning.
A lot of people showed up.
11 or so.
A lot of people showed
And
up.
we weren't the only ones there, obviously. They had all the other talent and
The
musicians.
pogo stick guy.
Yep, they had Sparky, who is a character from DudePerfect, and they were going to have Tim and Shad there too, the editing guys.
They were there.
DudePerfect.
They were there.
They were on the other side, I think.
A couple other people. We couldn't see everybody. There's also Torrin Wells, who's a musician. He's really good.
And DJ Michael.
DJ Michael, he was really
Yeah,
cool.
the pogo guys and the Shut Up and Dance guys, the
those guys
DJs.
were cool. And a couple others.
So kind of music-focused stuff, but we were the weird,
Sports and music.
we were the outliers at Lego.
The Lego guys.
We still signed a ton of hats, a ton of T-shirts.
Yeah. All DudePerfect stuff.
And the poster has our names in bold right beneath DudePerfect.
with everybody
so,
else's too. Yeah, so we could sign next
We were
to our names.
second billing,
It was like-
actually. It was great.
Anyway, so it was like bubble letters. We could sign those.
Yeah. So we were signing a lot of stuff. It was great. I think we were there for about an hour and a half. So another fun activity. And then another activity we did also on Sunday was the Get Crafty session
Yeah.
in a
that was-
huge theater.
Like a theater or a cinema theater almost. Like it had a stage where you could actually perform.
Almost like a play. Like you could do a play there. Had a big stage, had a backstage, had a
curtains,
big screen.
lights, a balcony for the audience.
Multiple balconies.
Like there's like 3, I think.
Yeah.
There's 1, 2, 3. It kind of looked like one from the distance, but
We don't have any pictures from that room, do we?
we might have a few. I think we have a couple.
You'll have to airdrop them if we have them.
Anyway, we'll get them from Justin. But anyway, so we did an event where we had 4 teams that were randomly drawn from a big pool of people.
You could sign up for this.
You could sign up.
And if you were lucky if you were chosen. So a lot of people did sign up for it.
Yeah, and they got lucky. Yeah, it was fun. So 4 teams, 4
Four
amazing
families.
teams, 4 families. Usually had around 3 to 1 children, I think.
Actually, it was about 3 to 5 people per family.
Yeah, roughly that. Yeah. And they got a box of Lego. They had a Lego set. It was one of the creator, just raw brick, and they got to build those. And the prompt was sports, and the winning team got this really cool resin Lego brick that was like gold glitter.
Yeah,
and it was like semi-transparent. It looked like the new satin color.
It also had DP on the side,
like engraved on the side. It was really cool prize, and the winner of that would get it. And we had we weren't the judges. We were like Will Arnett. We'd be like,
we're the hosts.
Yeah, we're the hosts. Yeah. So Will Arnett doesn't judge. Same story here. We didn't judge, and we had Sparky and DJ. What's his name?
DJ Mike Hell showed up at the end to judge.
Yep, and they showed up at the end. They're really nice people, really fun, and they're very popular too. And they got to judge. And they picked a team, and everyone was like super happy. We liked it a lot.
Now the 4 teams were the BZ Bros,
the Space Cadets.
You had KD's Creations.
KD's Creations,
and then you had the Yatuma family.
Yatuma, that's it. Yatuma family, and those are really cool. That's their
they
last
all
name.
did great. I would say that they did really good because they only had the 1 bucket of Lego, which was like maybe 200 pieces for 5 people to build with. That's not a lot.
No, but they got to utilize.
I was expecting there to be like quadruple that many pieces per table, and
Same here. Yeah,
so
whatever,
they did a good job, and
especially with what they had, they did a great.
They only
job.
had 40 minutes, so it wasn't like you had a ton of time to build, but they all did good.
We did like interviews part through, and we did some Q&A. It was a very fun, casual day. It was just
that was about. Not quite 2 hours. Just because when we got there, set up, start filming, do the thing.
Yeah, it was about an hour and a half.
We're done, we wrap up.
The event, though, the audience
maybe an hour 45.
I'd say about an hour 30, maybe.
Anyway, over an hour.
It felt longer. Yeah.
And but there was a big audience. We were talking on stage. It was high pressure situation.
It was about half full, maybe a third, between a third and a half full.
There's a few hundred people out there.
Full. Yeah, at least 150 people out there.
150, 200 people maybe. Yeah.
Like a big Q&A almost.
Yeah.
Like one of big Q&As, yeah.
But I was a little bit nervous up there. I think we did a good job overall. Every time we finished an event, the 6-man guys would say, "You guys did fantastic. You were awesome."
Yeah, it's hard to know, like sitting in your own
maybe they're just
seat.
all super nice, but at the same time, I think we just
we
did
had
good.
claps.
I feel like we were doing good. Yeah, people were laughing,
and we were totally on the fly. They gave us the mics. Here's the contest. Just have fun. We're like, okay, we're just gonna win it.
Improv for an hour.
Improv for 40 minutes minimum. And we're just like, all right, here's this.
And a lot of that's Q&A, so that's super easy.
Yeah, we did a little bit of Q&A, which is fun. We got to talk about the show a bit, and everyone was big fans of the show, so that was very fun.
I feel like we've gotten pretty good at these public speaking things
Getting
to like before Lego Masters. No way, Jose.
You wouldn't have touched a microphone.
And I don't think you would have either.
Probably not.
Yeah.
No.
The only thing we had before,
you for sure.
The only thing we had before Lego Masters was getting familiar with talking to
Beyond the
Brick on YouTube interviews, but that's very minimal compared to this.
It's still high pressure. You have this big camera very close to you, like from me to you, and there's a microphone in your face. So if it's new to you and you have to explain your model for a couple minutes on end, yeah, that trains you a tiny bit. But then, that show, man, you're just going to be fine with public speaking.
So, tooting our own horn a little bit, but I think everything went great. Everyone had a good time.
Everyone was, really enjoying it.
It's a lot of fun. But we've talked about the events. Talk about the cruise itself, Steve. What was the boat like for... I mean, a lot of people who are watching this will have been on a cruise, but for someone who's never been, what was it like? What was the boat like?
The food was awesome. Let's start with the food.
The food was pretty good.
Good. All the food's paid for. You just walk in. It's a free buffet for you the entire... Well, free.
We went to the main buffet most of the time.
Yeah.
There were other restaurants. We didn't have time to sit down.
We got to a couple other restaurants, which were very delicious. They were wonderful, like hand-tossed pizzas and stuff like that. It was just amazing. But yeah, the food was fantastic. There was a lovely balcony at the back of the ship near the restaurant, so you could just walk by and then you could just eat outside and the ocean's all around you. That was cool.
Yeah.
We had balcony rooms, so I could just sit and just stare at the water just for whenever we had downtime and just enjoy it. That was really fun. I did go on land at Nassau, and if you're used to really nice Florida, like Venice Beach and St. Augustine, Naples and Orlando and all these other cool places, it's like, Florida's really cool. And then you get to the Bahamas, they're cool too. But I like Florida just as better, if not more.
If you've lived in Florida for half your life, it's not necessarily going to blow your mind, right?
No. If you're from somewhere up north and you don't get to the subtropics much, you'll love it. But I didn't get to swim. I have a skin thing I had to take care of, so no salt water for me. I didn't get to swim. But it was fun. I got to stop by a big watch store. That was cool.
It's worth mentioning that our cousin and his 3 boys were on the trip.
We got to hang out with them
on the cruise, just as cruise attendees. And so we hung out with them quite a bit, and they were always like stopping by saying hi, bringing us water bottles.
They were so helpful.
So big props to our cousins. So we really appreciate
We call Justin, who's our cousin, we call his sons our cousinses. just to make it
because
silly.
they're our cousins' kids. I don't know what the technical term for that is.
So,
Morgan, let us know if you know the
Morgan,
familial term for that.
But we just decided to call them cousins just to joke around, and that's what we call them. So.
But yeah, so we had a great time. Nice to have a friendly family face there. That's a
mouthful. Like
but,
somebody you can rely on if anything happened. Yeah, they're great.
So it was good.
One thing I want to mention, we never met the dudes on the Dude Perfect cruise.
Yes.
Now, we probably could have arranged for it more specifically earlier. I talked to one of the staff. I'm like, they must have been pretty busy. We never saw them. Like, oh, I'm sorry about that. We could have maybe arranged something. So maybe we could, if we pushed for it, if we were like pushy about it, we maybe got a chance to see them. But no, we didn't actually see them. And no surprise, because they were really, really like...
They were sequestered.
Hiding away, only coming out when the events were happening. Because they would get absolutely mauled by the crowd. They're just immediately like moths to the flame.
They would pop their heads up for
the entire room, whatever the room is.
Less than a minute, and suddenly there's 150 to 200 people surrounding them.
Yeah, they had to move constantly. They were rock stars, and they had to move.
Yeah.
Which is funny because we didn't really do that. We didn't really need to. So, and Torrin Wells didn't have to either. He's probably the second. He's probably up there. Maybe he's probably more popular than us.
More recognition than some of the other bands there.
Yeah. So a lot of the people, the other groups, and the magicians too, and everybody else who were fun. Us, Torrin Wells, and the Pogos, and everybody.
They're pretty chill.
They're pretty chill.
We were pretty chill.
And the people got to meet us a lot. So we were around quite often, and people could like, hey, that's the Lego Masters. He's from a TV show. That's Torrin Wells. I listen to his music.
Pretty much, like,
that's the Pogo guys,
Like, half of the people we walked by or were nearby from...
One every three
knew
families.
Who we were and
like,
said hi, which is really cool.
And they're all really respectful.
Because it was not, like, everybody, though. It wasn't nearly a problem.
Yeah, we didn't get overwhelmed. Yeah.
It was definitely more talking than I like, but at the same time, I'm always happy to chat with people who are wanting to know.
Like a couple times an hour. We'd be sitting having lunch and someone walk up and say, hey, we love you guys on the show. And then they walk away. They go, oh, thank you.
Or get a picture, selfie.
Yeah, or a picture.
A lot of selfies.
Sign a hat, So I feel like people got a chance to see people that they're really interested in because the Dude Perfect team wasn't around very much.
They got to see the artists and talent. They didn't really get to absolutely definitely not hang out with them.
Unless you did another VIP thing.
There's a photo session. I'm pretty sure most people were able to do that.
Yeah.
You're able to get a photo with them. But it's not like hanging out.
No, because we could stop while we're eating lunch.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was the dude's choice. They just purely had to. They didn't have a choice in it. They had to we got to keep moving or we're just going to get
It's
swamped.
kind of just how this cruise was structured, too. They just didn't want to spend their entire time hanging out with fans. And so then it was more of an urgency when they did see it.
Because they would just have a logistics clog in the ship or whatever. There would be too many people in one spot or whatever. So they just had to hide. It was interesting. So.
Yeah. But, so feel bad for the dudes, but it's kind of how you get when you're super famous.
But I did kind of say hi to one. I was passing one. He was going back on the boat. I was leaving the boat. And I'm like, hey! He's like, oh, hey! And then he keeps walking. I'm like, that's him. That was one of the twins. I didn't recognize who. But that was my one encounter with the dude guys. So
that's cool.
It was pretty fun. So.
Yeah, so, but then we got off the boat eventually and debarked, and we got...
Disembarked.
Debarked, yeah.
Debarked.
Debarked. And then we...
Debarked.
That's how I would say it.
I love that.
Anyway, and then we got to the airport, and we waited for a while because we scheduled our flight a little later.
And we met a bunch of other people.
So a lot of people from the cruise were able to say hi to us again.
Yeah,
and then there were some
people
people
who weren't on the cruise
some
got
people
to say
who
hi.
weren't on the cruise recognized us and got a selfie too. So
we also saw some of the teams that we did our Get Crafty event with. Some of the teams that were in the top 2 and stuff. We got to say hi to them, which was very fun.
Yeah, because a lot of people were flying out from not only our cruise, but other cruises.
It's Miami Airport, yeah.
It's also worth pointing out when we were in the Bahamas, we saw the other cruise ships parked there too. Our cruise ship was kind of a slightly smaller ship.
1,000 feet long.
1,000 feet long, 14 stories high. It's the smaller cruise ship there. The Disney cruise was way taller. That must have been 20 stories.
Floors. Yeah. And maybe another 20% longer, sort of. Yeah, just big boat.
Huge boat. But that being said, the Six-Man guys were really proud of the fact that when their event was going on...
The Dude Perfect were having a concert thing at the top. The whole Dude Perfect team.
And the people on the Disney cruise were
ran up to the balcony
to watch because they didn't have anything as interesting going on.
No, they didn't have anything happening at the time. So they're like, hey, it's Dude Perfect! They could look down into the boat and see us. So that was quite funny. So
pretty hilarious. But anyway.
Oh, one last fun story before we probably wrap it up. But while we were out coming home, we were about to start one of our events, and then the captain and the second in command came down. This is probably my favorite part of the whole ship, the whole cruise, being on the boat. They came down, and they wanted to see the castle. So we were there talking to the captain and the second in command, and we were chatting. The second in command was Swedish, and the captain was Hungarian, but the Swedish captain there, he had seen Lego Masters Sweden, which is a really good one. There's it's up there with Australia. It's really good.
Yep, and our friend Andreas actually won with his partner for
Yep.
season 2, I think it was.
A friend of ours has won that season.
Yeah.
And that was really exciting to see that. And a few of our other friends were on there too.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of Swedish builders.
Yeah, Jonas got second place, I believe.
Yeah, that's the one. And so we were naming names, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I saw them on my season, on our season, our Lego Masters and stuff like that." So
we signed some bricks
for these guys. We signed bricks for these guys, and the six-man group guys are like, "Captain's down here. What in the world?"
Yeah.
They're kind of mind blown a bit because they've seen events, they've seen rock concerts and stuff like that, and other fun things that have been done. But they had to come see the Lego Castle, so that felt very good. I liked that.
So the 6-man group was really impressed by the fact that what we were doing was so unique and special and just interesting,
Just so different.
that the most important person on the ship
Is
was
what they told
was
you, yeah.
fascinating and really excited to meet us. They're not going to do that for a music band.
No,
you know?
not usually,
That happens
so.
all the time. So I think that was really cool that we had such a unique,
Yeah, the oddity of it.
a special thing that we brought to the table. So pretty fun.
It's kind of nice. Not to toot our own horns.
A little bit.
Whatever. But yeah,
we had a great time overall. That being said, this was only a few days ago. We just gotten back.
Very tired.
This is our first day back in the office, and we're both super tired. So we definitely won't be doing this all the time. This is kind of a once, in a many-year thing, I think. We'll see.
They might do it again. They might have us back. It's still in limbo, but we'll probably go back if they want us to.
Yeah,
we'll see.
if they invited us back, we'd probably go. But yeah, so it was a lot of fun, and we really wanted to share this experience with you guys and some of the pictures because we know that you guys have been asking about it. But that's all the information we have on the cruise. Feel free to drop a comment in there if you have any other questions, anything else you want to know about it. And we'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Bye-bye.
Get your brick on!
Yeah.